Do you like paying more taxes?
Okay.
Cenk, do you want the Trump tax cuts
so
to go
listen,
away?
Can I just regulate here and actually
one
give
other
truth
question.
and reality to this nonsense propaganda?
Why is it fair that Vietnam is charging us 90% in tariffs and we're not charging them the same?
Piers Morgan, Uncensored, is asking the big question. Is Donald Trump's vow to make America wealthy again through reciprocal tariffs really a plan to raise the standard of living for the working class? Let's find out.
You want a giant corporate tax cut, don't you? You both want a giant corporate tax cut. That's what this is about. It's all a giant ruse. You're not going to hear anything about tariffs after they pass that tax cut. This is not populism. It's the exact opposite. Okay, you want it, right? You want the $4.5 trillion tax cut for all your corporate buddies, right?
I do.
And you're trying to disguise that as populism?
No, I want it for all
of
Americans.
Course you do. Not for you. For the giant corporations and the wealthy. That's what the tax goes for. So let me just back up and explain all of this, okay? So number one, Kerry originally started talking about national security. That's always the excuse that they use. Biden used the same excuse. He said, oh, the CHIPS Act, it's national security. We have to make the chips here at home for semiconductors. Yeah, there's some truth to that. And there's some truth to protecting manufacturing here and for national security. But what do they use it for? Biden used it to shovel over $50 billion in subsidies to the donor class. Now, Trump is going to use it for $4.5 trillion in giant corporate tax cuts where they're going to take it from 21% to 15%. Steve Bannon is right about that. All populists, both on the right and the left, are right about that. Even if it was true that these magical things like these tariffs are going to last for years and years, no, they're not. After the tax cuts, you're never going to hear the tariffs again, okay? But even if that were true and they were to raise $6 trillion, well, okay, great, because we have a $37 trillion debt right now, and the populists are the only ones who actually care about it. The establishment Democrats and Republicans, and now Trump, and also in his first term, now in his second term, are going to add and add and add and add. So if you're worried about the debt, why would you do $4.5 trillion to the richest people in the country? Why are you taking it out of our pockets, putting it in their pockets? Trump already took the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%. Now he wants to bring it down to 15%. These tariffs are nothing but a distraction and a squirrel, so he can say, oh, it's all good, it's all good. I'm not going to add to the debt. You give all my corporate donors trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. If you were actually serious about being populist, you would say, okay, look, no matter what you think about tariffs and whether you think a more strategic approach would have been better or a blunt instrument like this, we can all agree that there's no reason to give away $4.5 trillion to corporations. You cannot make the argument that that's a populist position. That is a giant, giant, giant giveaway. And I can't stand it. And Batya, the way that Wall Street works, and believe me, I have no friend at Wall Street. Hold on.
Well.
The way that Wall Street works is, why does the stock market go down? It's not because it's a cabal and they get together and they're like, should we punish Trump? No, the price of aluminum goes up when you do the tariff. So what does that affect? For one of the things that it affects is beer, because the cans are made out of aluminum. So then I read a story today about how both on the Canadian side and the American side, they're worried about how the price of beer is going to go up. And also true of energy, so the price of gas is going to go up. So when that happens, the shares of those companies, beer companies, Coke, oil companies, et cetera, they go down a little bit because they know they're going to sell less because their prices are going to be higher and the economy is going to be hurt by it. They have that normal reaction to it. I'm not the guy who thinks, oh, stock market's the bellwether and the only thing that matters. No, wages matter. But this doesn't actually get us higher wages. It doesn't get us paid family leave. It doesn't get us anything that helps the average American. Instead, he's going to hurt the economy real bad because he's doing it in such a blunt way. And then he's going to use it as an excuse for his giant tax cuts that are going to go to all the corporations and all the donor class. And then afterwards, you're never going to hear the tariffs again.
Okay, guys, let me explain to you why Cenk Uygur's head is made out of aluminum. Let's say Pepsi raises prices on soda, chips, and other snacks, which actually happened in 2022. Pepsi did raise prices across many of its product lines due to inflation and higher supply chain costs. Here's what followed. Sales volume dropped slightly. Fewer people bought Pepsi products, or they bought smaller quantities. Revenue still went up because the price per item was higher. Overall revenue increased even though volume went down. Profit margins improved. Pepsi was able to offset some of its rising costs and in some cases make more money per unit sold. The stock didn't crash. In fact, it performed relatively well compared to some other consumer good companies. That's a win in the market's eyes.
You're not going to hear a Doge. You're not going to hear anything because the whole point is that giant giveaway to corporations not to the average American.
Well, I'm
Okay,
glad you got
Carrie.
your talking points. Geez. Oh, you know what,
It's
Cenk?
not
You
talking
can just
points,
write a
it's
check back
reality.
to the U.S. Treasury.
Stone cold reality. You want to help your corporate buddies, don't you? Why do we have a corporate tax cut? Carrie, why do you want a corporate tax
buddies.
cut? If you're such a populist, why do you want a corporate tax cut?
Americans. I want the Trump tax cuts to continue for all Americans.
Corporations are not Americans.
I'm in Washington. It's so typical that the left always interrupts, but I'm here in Washington, D.C., Cenk, okay? I'm watching how they're abusing the American taxpayer. President Trump is standing up for the American taxpayer. We're cutting the waste in Washington, D.C. At the same time, remember, the Democrats have, sadly, they used to stand up for the working class. They don't care about the working class anymore. Look at all the wealthy donors who donated to Kamala. They're not for Trump anymore. They aren't. And he cares about the working men and women. I have lived, and I've been all across this country. I've lived in parts of the Rust Belt before where towns are just boarded up factories that haven't seen any work done in them for decades. We are going to bring back manufacturing and jobs for the American man and the American woman. And we're going to do so very quickly. This is not something that we're going to slow roll into. We've been watching for years as America's gotten screwed over by trade deals, and President Trump isn't going to stand for it anymore. We know this will work. There's going to be a lot of fear-mongering coming from the left and the media. There's going to be a ton of fear-mongering. Your beer prices are going to go up. All the stuff Cenk just said. Just wait and see. This is going to happen. There's going to be a few bumps along the way. But in the end, we are going to see a strong American economy, a strong middle class. You're right. The middle class has been decimated. It's going to come roaring back. If we don't have a middle class, our economy will never be strong again.
So,
Back to
Piers,
you.
take note of this show.
What if-
I want to bring it back in 3
Yeah.
months and 3 years. You'll see.
Let's
they
do
I was
it.
about to
Let's
say
do
that,
it.
actually.
magically have a booming economy.
what I've been struck by-
None of these tariffs
yeah.
will be around in 2 years.
Well, what I've been struck
I'd
by
love
is the
to do it again
absolute
in 3
certainty that
months.
all four of you have. All four of you are completely certain, but only two of you can be right. Right? So in 3 or 4 months, this is all going to play out, and two of you will look ridiculous.
She couldn't have said it better. Trump is cutting waste, standing up for taxpayers, and rebuilding the Rust Belt. She gets it. She lived it. She's been across the country and seen the boarded up towns, the factories gutted by globalist trade deals, and she's 100% right when she says we're bringing American manufacturing jobs back. I believe this has always been Trump's goal. And I think the globalists on the left hate him for it because he's not afraid to risk it all to rebuild the American middle class. And that terrifies them. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and comment below. I want to know your thoughts. Do you think Trump is really fighting for the middle class? Or are we all just being scammed while the rich get richer and the rest of us are left behind?